Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here, one more time. I've spent most of my time when I've been talking to you was trying to convince you that if you really want to live in these bodies during these times, I mean, live and enjoy the life, that the only way that I'm familiar that this might happen is by trying God. And when I say the message to you, I'm not just speaking about some people. I'm speaking about all people. Because I want to live, and I'm sure everybody wants to live, but I don't just want to be here. I want to have a life, and I'm sure that every last one of you want to have life. And so every time I get the opportunity to share with you, by virtue of maybe the Spirit giving me a message to share with you, or whether I run into or an encounter with a result that should be profitable for us. For many of you, I have shared with you that a few years ago I had a heart attack and I survived. Before then and even now, I've had high blood pressure. But most recently, say the past couple of months, my blood pressure seems to be always high. Very seldom have I seen a number that's within the acceptable range. And I have experienced, pain, uncomfortable results in my chest. But tonight I was in doing some research, listening to something that came across the internet, and they were talking about diabetes. And I'm a pre-diabetic, and I know a lot of people have this disease, sickness, whatever you want to call it. And if you watch on the internet, you have people who are famous, seemingly coming over the internet saying that they have come up to some cures with this diabetic stuff. They use people like Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz. They talk about people like Denzel Washington and Al Roker and so many others. But people that we are familiar with, they have them, and Tom Hanks as well. They have these guys come on and make a video stating how this new stuff is working and it has worked for them. So you start running research, and the research says that these ads are really basically phony. They're not real at all. And yet you have them saying exactly what you want to hear if you are caught up in one of these situations. You find out they say that, and and I know as well, that we got people that are deceiving one another for all kinds of reasons, and most of them, the reasons has to do with profitability. Now, that is real. But now they have AI that can generate the images of people, well-known people. And these AIs can be really programmed to say exactly what you want them to say. Now, I refer to that because I had received a letter from AAA talking about insurance. Because I've been a member for so long, I can get this discounted insurance, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, can this be real or could it be fake? So I go to do some research on the internet, and I'm finding out that a lot of stuff like that is fake. And even there is fake information relative to AAA. I don't know whether the notice I got is fake, but this is what I'm just trying to see what the possibilities exist that it could be fake. And yes, there are many uh, commercials out there that are really generated for clicks, for people to make money off of. And so I'm hesitant about this AAA thing. But that is what really got me going because while I was checking on the AAA, something came on about the diabetes. And so I went to check on, to do some research on diabetes. And And you know, these guys, they always say, especially in the medical profession, that big pharma is out to rob everybody. And these new ideals are from people who are trying to help us by giving us information that is about cures and not big pharma's ideology of treatment, maintaining funds, constantly robbing the people from generation to generation, people never getting cured. And so that gets your attention. You want to wonder, let me see if it's possible. Can these guys really be doing this? And if so, how can I benefit from it? And so it just happened that while I was doing that research, here a few, maybe an hour ago now, something happened to me. I received a chest pain like I've never received before. Even when I had a heart attack, my chest pain wasn't like this. This was what you call the chest grabbing, holding, because this was pain. So I fed up. I got my little pill bottle, you know, the pills that they give you. So if you ever find yourself in a situation like this, you drop one on your tongue, it might help you come back around until you get some help. But I didn't want to take the pill. I just wanted to be have it handy if the pain got more than I can bear. And it was pretty rough there because they had you doing those little short breaths, like trying to make sure you don't get too much air. Because if you take a deep breath, it looks like it just makes your heart say, "Wow, wow." And so I had to go downstairs for a minute and come back. And I'm thinking that you should know what's going on. I'm sure you do. I'm sure what I'm going through, same thing that many of you are going through. But the reason that I come here to say to you what I'm saying tonight or this morning is because there is one way that we can free ourselves from this. And that one way is trusting in God. And they say that Jesus lived to give us an example of how true it is. So I'll say, for those of you who are familiar with Jesus, and for those of you who don't know Jesus but know God, then I'm saying God. And why do I say that? Because God loves every last one of us. God loves me, and God loves Trump, even though a lot of us can't stand Trump right now. But God loves us all. And God prepared, as I have indicated, and I'm saying it again for those of you perhaps who have not heard, that this earth was created by a power that has nothing to do with man except man's usage of it, which means that this is not our earth. This is the earth that belongs to the Creator. I call it God because I can't imagine anything else, but we have given the ultimate power, recognized power, to God. And this earth has resources that have allowed us to accomplish everything that human beings have accomplished. That was called providing for. Man, that was called providing for. You can't argue with that. And so, having been given bodies, spirit given bodies that we could actually do what I'm doing right now, talking, looking around and making some moves, you know, and then put that body on this earth and the resources and everything that's necessary to keep this body going is right here on this earth free. Free. Our bodies are free. We didn't make these. The earth is free. The resources are free. But we have a need for survival to sustain ourselves here. And that's what the resources are for. But not only that, since we come here, we're going to benefit from the earth. We bring something so we can participate in life on this earth. And so this is why I want to remind you constantly that we have been given gifts, things that we can do on this earth to participate in what is required to be done. And each of us got something. And it is determined by our love for engaging in it. So we have been given the blessing, the opportunity to choose how our engagement, to choose that which gives us our greatest love, to choose it. And when we have done that, we have identified what God has given us to do on this earth. So one of the main services that God has given us on this earth. And what is the service that we've been given? What is it for? It is for us to collectively engage ourselves in a process that protects us and gives us life forever, if that's the way it's supposed to be. God has done that. God has given us everything. Now we have this decision to choose to say yes to life and to engage ourselves in life so that our needs, our wants, and our desires will be met. Where we won't have to suffer for anything, whether it's food, clothing, shelter. You've heard me say it, education, healthcare, transportation, or even going to the moon or anything. We have that capability. And then we even have capability now to create AIs. Sometimes they seem to be much smarter, much quicker at it than we are. However, we are still the ones that created the AI. So the AI got a God, which is called man. But man has a God that's called God. And so I'm thinking about this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thinking about how easy, how simple it is if we tried God's way, where if we need a medication, it would be designed in such a way that it's to cure us, not just to treat us. Why? Because there's no other benefit from it except curing us, making us feel better. Nobody's robbing us, trying to take something from us. And see, that's where you can see what deception set in. While God has made it possible for every last one of us to engage ourselves in life, protecting life itself for us, through us, there have been those who have said they wanted a better life than the rest of us, or they've chosen to decide to engage in whatever they possibly can to make sure that they can do that. And to do that, they have to rob us, the rest of us, of our lives by claiming the resources that God has given to all of us. When God gave them the ability to utilize those resources, to have certain knowledge that the others didn't have or don't have, they decided that they would utilize that information to prioritize themselves above the rest of us. And so we have to work hard, not necessarily at that which gives us our greatest love, but what they want us to do because they put money on, higher money on what they want done. And they have fixed it so we can't get anything unless we got money. So rather than do what God wants us to do so we can have it free, we do now what they want us to do. Why? Because we do not know God. We do not know God. Just the other day, we heard some generals speak to the nations, especially those who might be susceptible to the military. And this has to do with people who don't know God, who might take us to a war, saying, reminding them that you do not have to obey unlawful orders, like going in, killing a whole bunch of people just because they say do it. You know, the military, they're fighting a war. You don't have to do it. Or other things, you can think of things that out of place. That if you've given instruction to do it, do not do it. The Constitution, they're saying, protects you from not having to do that. But the true message of it, ladies and gentlemen, is the same message that God has given us. And it's above that message. The message that God has given us is not result in giving our power to anyone that would usurp the power from others, that would rob the people, that would lie and cheat and deceive the people and cause people to be confused and not know what to do, like what I'm saying to you today. We don't know what to do. I don't know whether the medication that I'm being given is causing problems with my heart. I don't know if my lack of operating within the system that perhaps they provided is causing my high blood pressure. All of these things we're not certain about. Just confusion because we're living in a world that does not care about us. We're living in a world where the people are using one another to benefit themselves at the expense of others. That is why the United States and Israel is engaged in a war with Iran because they want to say that they are better, they are more deserving, And they have reduced these people, the Iranian people and black people and the Gaza people and the Ukrainian people, just to mention a few, to a low level nothings. And they themselves who are doing the oppressing and doing the warmongering call themselves superior. And they're ready to prove their superiority by hurting other people, killing other people, babies and old folks, killing this infrastructure and anything just to make themselves feel better. And I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, God is the solution. All of that is not a solution. I'm sitting here tonight not knowing if there's a treatment that could help my situation and make it better. And the reason that I got up to say this to you at this moment, just having those heart pains, is because if it is my time, if it is my time to leave this plane, I want at least for you to know what I'm going through right now and how important it is that I share with you that the solution to our problems is to trust God. And when it comes down to trusting God, for those of you who do not know what that might entail, it means having discovered what it is that you love and engaging yourself in that participation in life, you will receive joy, which is a statement, stamp of approval that God is satisfied with what's going on. So you'll be working with love and joy. And with that love and joy, you don't have to worry about lies. You don't have to worry about cheating because you can live in peace. You will live in peace because this strategy creates peace and prosperity and freedom and joy and happiness and fulfillment and satisfaction and actually the opportunity to live the life rather than dream about the life. So it is so important that I get you to think about that. But not just think about it. That's a start. But to do something about it. And what is required to be done. Change. Change the systems that you live under. Change the system from the system that says it's okay for slaves to exist when then they're oppressors doing it. Change it to say that some people are important and others are not. Change your system that says everybody's important. And the reason that they're important because they impact your life. The life that you live, the life that you can live, is basically determined by everyone's participation in that life to make this life fulfilled for you and for everybody else. And you don't have to lie. You don't have to live to according to a lie. You don't have to try to be superior to others because what you want in life is available to you right there in this life if you are not trying to usurp life from others and belittle others for your life. Now, war, terror, corruption, cheating, lying, hating, bigotry, and racism. All of that stuff is a result of people trying to do things without God and getting away with it. In America, there is no way that we as American people should be engaged in a war. In fact, before the war comes, there's no way we should have a president in the mindset of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is corrupted. But the only reason that Donald Trump is president of the United States is a great majority of the people of the United States are just as corrupt as Donald Trump. So can you imagine me talking to you about a God that will free us from all this kind of stuff when the people's mindset is stuck on a Donald Trump? Well, it doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen, about the truth of that. The reality of it is, if you are not like that, you maybe can engage in change. But in order for you to be engaged in change, you got to have that mindset. You got to have that mindset and you got to commit yourself to engage in the process of causing the change. And nothing should prevail you from doing it. If you have to separate yourself from all that you have been connected to just in order to promote that message of what it is about freedom, true freedom, then you have to do it. Even if it takes your life. And I know everybody wants to live, but even though you might want to live, and you see the light, you have to walk according to that light, knowing that you are going to pass out of here. But could be instrumental in helping others and saving others from this hell that we are in. And who knows, maybe God, the creator of the universe, recognizes what's going on and has something prepared as a reward for those of you who walk according to that light. I hope so. I don't know so, but I didn't know anything about this life before I came here. And so I don't really know anything about any other life until I get there, if it ever happens. But to be free from this is amazing. When you think about it, once you have been living here, you usually have, according to the system that we live in today, we just have routine. Routine, we're not really living. We're just going through some ritualistic type of stuff, promoting those who have decided that their way is the way that works for them, and the rest of us are just slaves to promote that they can actually do that while we are just suffering. While we're suffering. Big Pharma, they say, is robbing you. And someone else comes along and says, well, we got the cure, the real cure. And you listen to wait for the answer, only to find out that they are sticking their hands and they're trying to rob you as well. Every, what we call invention, every chair, every computer, every phone, every television, every car, every plane, and how they operate is the information that came from God to the human race to be utilized free, because he gave those who love the participation in whatever role that they have, brings them joy in doing that. That's life. And the result is that we can all live life like a party, a big party. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to take that moment to share with you again that by my estimation, I've lived quite a long time, that God is the solution. And I'm not talking about the God the way you've heard it taught to you. Because what I'm sharing with you right now, you haven't heard it like this. And even though I'm saying it to you like this, it's already in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Now, some of it has been left out. You've had people explaining different kinds of ways because they're trying to support what is going on. But the truth of it still is in the Bible. It's just that unless you are led by the spirit of that compassion, love, led by the spirit of that empatheticness that is required to maneuver us through this. If you don't have that, then you can lose up, accept any old lie. But even accepting any old lie, the truth of the matter is that as we free ourselves, accepting Christ, accepting Jesus, accepting God, and whatever else promotes this, it's no good for us alone. And the evidence of it is, as long as the people like Donald Trump and Putin and other racists and bigots exist on earth while we're here, our work is incomplete. We have to lift up love in such a way that the dumbest people, the blindest people who hate God will be able to see God through what we as individuals who see God and live God are doing. So my challenge to each and every last one of us who hear my voice today is to make a change that represents God. And the change that represents God is the kind of life that we desire for ourselves and one another. That is the key, in case you haven't recognized it yet. That is that we do unto others as we have others to do unto us. And that is fulfilled when each of us know what it is that we love and we engage ourselves in that process and receive the joy of it. And what comes back to us is all that we've imagined, all that we've dreamed, all that we've hoped for. And that in freedom and joy. So I want to thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity to take this moment and share this with you. Now that I've just recorded it, let me find a title and post it in case I still have to leave here tonight. I want to thank you again. Goodbye for now.